What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and we're back for another edition of MVP Games Live, the daily game show, almost said sports show, game show here on MVP. And you might be thinking, if you're new to this, wow, it's an actual game show. No, we just talk gaming news. That's what I mean by game show. And I am joined, like I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Soapy Muffin. Soapy, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I can tell as the week has gone on, now that I'm thinking about it, like, you could tell, wow, Soapy feels better today than he did on Monday. Because, like, your voice and your excitedness, I can now hear the change in your voice, and I'm glad that you are feeling better and are closer. I don't know if you're at 100% strength, but I hope you're closer to that. But I could just hear it in your voice there is, oh my God, I'm burping. Damn water that I'm drinking. But we got a jam-packed show for you today. Going to be talking about Star Wars. Going to be talking about Shroud. He's back on Twitch. PlayStation 5 news. Tony Hawk demo reactions. And a little bit of more. But before we get into everything, let's go through some housekeeping. Number one, if you're on Twitch, thank you for watching us live. Twitch.tv/MVP vids. If you ever miss a show, you can watch us on YouTube, MVP Entertainment. If you're watching us on YouTube, between 5:30 and 6 Central Time, depending on how long MVP Sports goes, the hour before, that's when we usually stream live on twitch.tv/MVP vids. You can also support the channel, patreon.com/MVP vids. Patrons get special Discord accesses. They get to interact with the live shows. They get to get content early, be a producer for the live shows. So go and support us and get rewarded for doing that. We cannot do the stuff that we do without the help from our patrons and podcast services around the world. This will be on them shortly. I will say this until they are. And I thank you for your patience on that. But Soapy, let's start out the show talking a little bit about Star Wars. And this is right up your alley because yesterday we talked about movie adaptations and games we want to see into movie adaptations. And we had a discussion about Star Wars. For anyone new to the show, you love Star Wars. There's nothing you want more than good Star Wars games.
Facts.
And there was an interview. So I'm just going to read the article. This is from Jordan Oloman from IGN. It says, Project Redtag producer says canceled title would have been the best Star Wars game ever made. Here's the article that Jordan wrote. A producer who worked on Project Redtag has said that the canceled game would have been the best Star Wars game ever made. In an interview with MinMax, an ex-Visceral Games producer, Zach Mumbach, shed some more details about the canned EA project, which in his words was set to be an amazing, well-crafted 12-hour experience. Mumbach talks about how a leadership team was brought in to cut and ship the game, who had a different vision from Redtag than Amy Hennig's crew at Visceral. I'm thinking this is effing Amy Hennig. We have the chance to make the greatest Star Wars game ever made and a possible Game of the Year contender. When asked about what might have happened if the team were given more time, Mumbach told MinMax's Ben Hansen, I think we would have made the best Star Wars game ever made. The story and the setup and the characters, it was set up for success, and what we had to execute was going to take a while. He then went on to talk about EA and their pivot away, but he says also the team had a set of unfinished levels and a set piece involving a crazy ATST moment. You were on foot running from it, and it was trying to hunt you down, but you were more agile, slipping through all these alleyways and just barreling through and crashing and using all the destruction of Frostbite. Mumbach also described the gameplay as Star Wars Uncharted. He then went on to basically say that we are going to get Star Wars Squadron at the end of the year, which is a kind of like dogfight space simulator from the Star Wars universe. That's by Motive Studios. But Soapy, hearing this about Project Redtag, I know that some of this may be like, yo, bro, we don't need to hear this. I don't need to cry today. But the thing I want to ask you is, do you think EA ever revisits this? Will we ever get a chance to see Project Redtag, or is this just something of like, man, we missed out on the best Star Wars game ever?
I feel a few things. One, fuck EA. They just keep adding on to it. There's that one.
This was like,
but there's also,
this was, I want to say, 2 years before they made the double down of like, yes, we're going to make Star Wars titles. And this was 2 years before we got Fallen Order.
Okay. Yeah. So, because obviously, like I said, my first point, fuck EA, all that fun stuff. My second one also kind of like, these are just some really cocky devs. like that's tooting your horn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not just like, we were aiming to make the best experience. You're like, no. They may as well have sat there, slapped me, spit in my mouth, and then said, hey, this is the best game you're ever going to play.
I don't disagree with you. Like, the thing that I think of is... So, there's a part of me that says, if it was so good, why did EA give up on it? But yet again, was it only because EA probably thought, hey, this is going to take more money and more time than we're willing to put into this? Like,
yeah, that's a very strong... Oh, sorry, my bad.
Like, it could have been Game of the Year, but if it was going to take... I don't know this exactly, but if it was going to take 2 more years to get it done, is being a Game of the Year candidate 2 years later worth putting in more money and more resources to make the game? I'm thinking like EA, what they would have been thinking of.
Yeah, well, considering EA has always had a problem with not giving studios enough time to make games.
Good point. Crunching.
Like, well, not even just with crunching. It's like they just give you such a small window to make a game.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is obviously like...
Everything's
this is more
not
of an
Madden? Copy paste? What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, not even just with that, but like the big example I was thinking of was like with SimCity. They had like a year to make the game, and then they were surprised when it sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, what, dude? Like, every other SimCity game's good. Why is this one bad? But going back to the Star Wars topic,
yeah.
I think it's a weird situation of where I think it probably got canned because it was taking too long, but at the same time, I also probably think they may have seen, like, okay, we have these developers. Fallen Order was probably already an idea in the works.
Yeah.
And it was probably, this was around the point of when they were like, okay, Fallen Order is seeming like it's going to click with us more.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to this. And also no Star Wars game is ever going to be Knights of the Old Republic. I'm sorry about that one.
Fallen Order was a Game of the Year candidate, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, I don't remember, actually, I think it's nominated this year, I think. It technically counts.
I'll look it up.
Because I think it came out after the window that you could qualify for Game of the Year last year. Because I remember people were saying it should have, and then it just didn't appear on the ballot. But it was also because it came out afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking that up while you're continuing to go. Because I think the Game Awards were canceled this year, but I don't know if they're going to do something virtually. So I'll look that up about it being Game of the Year while you continue on.
Okay. But yeah, I think they probably saw the idea of Fallen Order. They had basically like the elevator pitch by that point, and they're probably like, okay, this sounds like something that's probably going to sell better. Because also, like, with just that little description of where they're like, oh, you're being chased by an ATST. Mm-hmm. And when they're like, you're more nimble, congratulations. I hope that a person running is more nimble than a giant fucking robot. Like, I hope, because if I remember correctly, I think the ATSTs are the ones that, like, people call them, like, chicken walkers or something like that. Because they're the ones that, like, look like they waddle when they walk.
They're the ones from from Return of the
Mandalorian.
Jedi. On the Ewok planet of why am I blanking on the Ewok home planet?
Endor.
They're those ones. So the ones we saw in Endor on Return of the Jedi, those are the ATSTs.
Yeah, I'd hope to God someone could be more nimble. If a small Care Bear outran that thing, I'm 100% sure that
Did you just say a small Care Bear? Is that what you described my Ewoks as?
Yes. What? I mean, I could have said Endor is basically the Build-A-Bear factory.
Put some respect on the Ewok name, man.
Hey, man, I like the Ewoks too, but I'm just saying, it's basically Care Bear land, where they worship a golden robot.
Mm-hmm. And you were right, by the way. Fallen Order was late to the party last year for Game of the Year. Game of the Years were Shadows Die Twice won it, with Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Smash Ultimate, and Outer Worlds being nominated for Game of the Year. So it might have been one this year, but we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'd have to wait until it gets to around the point for it.
Yep.
Because then it may qualify by that point, but I don't think it's going to win it this year. But that's a different topic for a different day.
Yeah, I think... Go ahead. I was going to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that just once again, like with that description of that didn't really get me excited. I was just like, okay. Like that just kind of seems like something that happens in every Star Wars game.
But the thing that I was going to ask you about, because yet again, you're more the Star Wars game guy than I am. Like I have thoughts about just... In my opinion, there hasn't been like Star Wars fans deserve better games. They deserve better games, and Star Wars should be a property that, yes, you're going to have bad Star Wars games because everyone wants to cash in on the Star Wars name. But there should be really good Star Wars games. You have such a expansive world to work from. And when they say in there, like, Star Wars Uncharted, does that get, like, as a Star Wars fan and a Star Wars gaming fan, does that get you excited? Like, would you want an Uncharted style game set in a Star Wars universe and a Star Wars story?
I think it mostly depends which Uncharted we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if they're saying, like, Uncharted-esque story, like, I guess, but, like, if it's Uncharted gameplay, it's like, okay, like, at that point, I'm obviously not playing a character who has the Force, and I'm not gonna lie, really don't want to play people who don't have the Force in a Star Wars game. I'm not gonna lie.
So it's if like I want to play a game almost? Like your Han Solo?
Yeah, I don't really want to play as a character like that in a Star Wars game where the Force exists.
Yeah.
You know, like, I've always said, like, Star Wars hasn't had super bad games. Like, obviously, you know, people are divisive on, like, Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, the EA versions, not the old ones, because everyone loves the old ones. But, like, and a lot of people are split on, like, the Force Unleashed games. But, like, the games themselves are, like, okay. Like, they're solid games. It's just some of them are kind of like, did they do Star Wars justice?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of one thing that I think Fallen Order did really well, was, like, it did Star Wars justice, especially it did Darth Vader justice, but that's besides the point.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think I want to say, like, I'm sad this is never going to come out, but at the same time, it's also, I can live without it, because just the elevator pitch they gave didn't excite me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't really want, like, basically a Star Wars version of Uncharted. That just sounds weird to me.
Yeah, and I mean, the other game they mentioned, too, of, like, so later this year, actually, in about 2 months and a week from where we're at right now, we will have a Star Wars game coming out. The next one we're slated to see is called Star Wars Squadron. And if you have not heard of this game, it's basically a ship fighting game where it's described as you have a story. You can play two ways. There's a Republic pilot and then a pilot for the Sith. And you kind of like, I don't know if you pick one, you play their story first, or if it trades you off in between. But the thing that doesn't excite me about this game, because it is a beautiful game, it looks cool, but my problem with ship games when it comes to the Star Wars universe is I've always felt like being in the X-Wing or being in a TIE fighter is not something I want an entire game to have. It's a part of a Star Wars game. Because in a Star Wars game, I want a fuller experience. Like you said, there's the Force here. Mainly people just want to fucking use the Force and swing a fucking lightsaber. That's all they want to do. And I know you're going to try to come up with different games so they're not all like the Fallen Order game, but when you're in the cockpit for an entire game except for cutscenes, and there might be some levels where you're like running around the deck bay, but when you're in a ship for 90% of your game, experiencing that beautiful world through what, in a TIE fighter, a circle hole in front of you, and from an X-Wing from your cockpit, it feels like, to me, I almost feel like a fish in a bowl, but that might not even be. I feel like, you know how in Jurassic World, when they put them in those clear balls that kind of move around, that's what I feel like. Here's the world, you're in it, but you don't really get to explore it or see it in the true sense that you want. It doesn't jive to me to explore a world from a cockpit for 90% of the game. Bless you.
Thank you.
But maybe you have a different thought than that. But like, that's just my thought. Thinking about Star Wars Squadrons.
Yeah, I mean, with the way I view Squadrons is it's meant for cockfighting. Like, I mean, not that style of cockfighting. Get your mind out of the gutter. Or chicken fights.
Go to horny jail, Soapy. Go to horny jail.
Yeah, gotta go to horny jail. I got bonked. But like, I feel it's being marketed as like dogfighting. It's not being marketed as like explore the Star Wars universe and then you're stuck, like you said, in a fishbowl.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things of like, people have always liked like space combat in Star Wars, you know, because it's a good chunk of it. Yeah. AKA every time they go near the Death Star, there's a fight.
Yeah.
So I think that's the crowd they're going for. I don't think they're trying to market it to be like, hey, remember that, you know, that one cool planet Star Wars has? You can look at it from space. Fuck you, you're not going on that planet, though. Like, this is basically like, oh, you should get to fight above the planets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think that is more of the way that they have announced it, at least. Because so far, it's like, they haven't really done much.
Yeah, I had not heard of it until today. I'll be completely honest. Have not heard of it until this article. And the game that I'm thinking of that I wanted to kind of, because you're right, it is like, their marketing is doing everything right with it. It's not like they're trying to market a game that's not there, but like, I almost think of, was it Rogue Squadron was the game? I'm trying to look it up and I can't find the cover for it, but basically what the game was, I remember having it as a kid. It was a 2-disc, Rebel Assault 2. That was the game. There it is. Rebel Assault 2, which was a 2-disc game, and that had a lot of like, you're the X-Wing now, you're in the Millennium Falcon now, you're in the Y-Wing, and this wing, and that wing, and it's kind of like, yes, you're right, it's more of that game, but like, I don't know, maybe it's just me saying that that's not a game that jives with me. Like, I'll play it, but I would rather play that Star Wars game that's going to put me into the shoes and into the persona of a Jedi, because that's to me of like the real Star Wars stuff. And I like the game that kind of takes all these different aspects of the Star Wars world. Let's move on though. The next thing we're talking about is PlayStation 5. And this is coming from TechRank. techradar.com. We had just talked about yesterday how Halo Infinite is getting delayed. It will not launch with the Xbox Series X, and it's going to come out in 2020. And Soapy and I kind of talked about how, damn, this is a hit. This is a hit for and not like a good hit. This is a bad hit for the Xbox Series X at launch. But techradar.com, this is coming from Samuel Roberts, says PlayStation 5 could take more games away from Xbox Series X, rumor suggests. And he is getting this. So the article says Sony has already lined up a number of major exclusives through third-party publishers for PS5, like Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop from Bethesda, not to mention exclusive Spider-Man DLC for the PlayStation versions of Marvel Avengers. Now, though, a rumor suggests that more multi-format games are destined to become PS5 exclusives, at least for the time period, or for a timed period. On Kinda Funny Games Daily, show and former Game Informer senior editor Imran Khan shared a little info from an unnamed source about Sony's plans for PS5. Imran said, "There are things you will be shocked to find out that Sony is money-hatting, that there is locking up for timed exclusivity. Wow, that is a game that you're choosing, not because it's bad, but because it's huge." So I'm interested to see where this conversation is going, as my article timed out on me. So I'm interested to see where this conversation is going to be in a couple of months, because there are games that are widely accepted as multi-platform that Sony is locking up for a little while. It then says Khan's wording suggests that exclusivity may be involved with a game that's already been announced. We would like to speculate on that front, but it would suggest Sony has big ambitions beyond the lineup games we already know about. Soapy, in your mind, do you believe this? Do you think Sony is trying to do this? And do you think Sony will be able to basically, we're not going to say there's a game out right now that you're trying to do this with, but let's say this is their plan for future titles. Will PlayStation be able to basically exclusivity lock games where, oh, you get this or you get this part of it on PlayStation for a time period before it comes to Xbox or Switch?
Well, I mean, that's already a thing. I don't know why they're trying to make it seem like this is some grandstanding thing. Like, the biggest example of this already being a thing was with Call of Duty. Because they would alternate back to back in years of, like, Xbox would get the DLC first. Then PlayStation the next year would get it first. Like, this is stuff that's been in for a while. I don't know why. Like, launch of games, I could see being, like, a big thing. But even at that, if I know it's still coming to Xbox, I'm not going to be like, damn, dude, I guess I got to go buy a PlayStation to play this game that comes out in 4 months on my Xbox. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm, like, salty or anything about it.
No,
but it's like,
be salty. You're an Xbox guy. Like, be salty. Like, I'd be salty if it was Xbox.
Yeah, like, it's just, I can't stand when people make it sound like, oh, you know, PlayStation pulling a power play. It's like, congratulations. Both sides do this. It's not, like, I can't stand, like, the problem I have with it, like, and I'm not shit talking to any of the people in the article.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not new. This isn't stuff that's never been done. This isn't groundbreaking. This isn't like, oh shit, like Sony just bought Microsoft or some stupid shit like that that like completely alters everything. Yeah. Like, this is just like, hey, Marvel's Avengers gets this. It's like, congratulations, Sony owns the right to Spider-Man. Doesn't surprise me he's going to be a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, and I mean, for me though, like, I'm not, like, I don't think it's going to be anything like we've seen yet. So, like, for example, you brought up the Spider-Man thing. Yeah, that shouldn't shock you. Fucking Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man. Of course, they're going to put it on their system. and not have it come to Microsoft. Here's the thing I'm kind of thinking of, though, is I don't know if it's going to be something like we've seen, because you said we've seen it before, where it's like, oh, get it on PlayStation first. Even look at the Marvel's Avengers. Yes, everyone, even Xbox owners, get to play the beta this weekend, but the entire PlayStation world already got to play the beta last weekend. So that's already exclusivity. On the other side, we've seen, like, for example, we've seen basically MLB The Show go against the exclusivity, where it's coming now to Switch and Xbox next season. But here's the thing I'm thinking is the power play part of this, which would be rumors. I have no connections to this. I am just speaking my opinion. Will it be something that is linked to Cyberpunk? Will PlayStation get an exclusive DLC, get an exclusive, like, basically the same way they got an exclusive with Spider-Man? Could we see an exclusive DLC, an exclusive something for Cyberpunk that is only going to be for PlayStation users? Because if, and yet again, these are all rumors, but if the general rumor is thinking of, like, oh, it's a game that is rumored or a game that is going to be coming out, that would be the game that if I'm Sony and I'm trying to make a power play for exclusivity, that's the game I would want to target. I would want to target a game that basically everybody is going to be buying anyway. Like, obviously, you're not going to target a game to where it's like, oh, well, most of the gaming world is not going to buy this. So, like, for example, I'm just going to throw one out on the list I'm looking at. Blair Witch. I'm not trying to get an exclusivity for that because there's going to be a lot of gamers that don't buy that game. But Cyberpunk, which is going to be the next big release game that we get, that is a game where it's like, okay, I'd believe you if you said they're trying to get some exclusivity with Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, the only reason that I don't think it's going to be Cyberpunk is we already saw Marvel's Avengers get slammed for everything what they're doing with exclusivity. Like, obviously, not with the Spider-Man thing, because people understand that. That makes sense. If you're complaining that Spider-Man's not an Xbox, grow the fuck up. It's a company. Sony owns it. They're not letting Microsoft have it.
Yeah.
But, like, the stuff they got slammed for was, like, PlayStation players get, like, all these extra benefits. It's like, okay, cool. You're giving the shaft to everybody else. You're indirectly probably going to harm your game more than do good. And I don't think CD Projekt Red even attempts to risk that with Cyberpunk, because it's one of those things. Cyberpunk, and I don't want to speak this into existence, this could be the biggest flop of my fucking lifetime.
Because of how many times it's been pushed back, and pushed back.
Yeah, how many times it's been pushed back, how high the expectations are. Like, I'm trying to remember what game it was. Like, when No Man's Sky came out and everyone hated it.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk could be the next No Man's Sky.
Oh, I remember No Man's Sky too. Fucking Mark was pumped for that game, and then I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll buy it. No, he likes it. He just, like, the way he described it was kind of the same way I described Destiny. Is like, if you played No Man's Sky when it came out, you'd say, wow, this is a shit game. If you waited like a year, then you'd be like, wow, this is a good game. Because as they added things to it, it became the game people thought they were going to get on launch day.
Yeah, and that's what I think I think Cyberpunk realizes, like, this, or not Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red realizes this is going to be volatile. You don't even attempt to pull anything like this. Because the only thing I would think they would do is, like, they may do something like that for PC, and it's just because PC can handle more. Because, like, obviously PC is going to end up having modding support. Like, because Witcher has it. Every other CD Projekt Red game has mod support. Like, that'll be the benefit that PC has. But now I don't see a major release getting exclusivity,
Mm-hmm.
and the only reason is because, once again, it does more harm than good.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, like I brought up with Marvel's Avengers, since it got slammed, there are people who were going to buy it for Xbox who aren't now. Because
Mm-hmm.
they're like, okay, cool, this company doesn't give a shit about the other side.
Yeah.
It's just playing favorites, which obviously, once again, it's a company. You just gotta grow up and accept it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it shitty? Yeah. Do you wish it didn't happen? Yeah. Is it gonna happen anyways? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the last thing I'll kind of say about this before we move on into the Xbox side of it is, so the one thing I will kind of retract is I was thinking Cyberpunk 2077, because it could be on both PS4 and PS4 and PS5, because it's going to be coming out the same time as the next gen stuff. But we got to think this is next gen games. So there's a part of me that's like, is this going to be something we don't see, where it's just basically more games, like games that were on both for PS4 and Xbox, what is it? Xbox One is the equivalent.
Xbox One.
Ones that were on both for that. PlayStation's going to be taking more games for the PS5 away from Xbox, which this is only a wait and see. It's just interesting to see that, like, how much more exclusivity will PlayStation get, because the big selling point for PlayStation is we got the games. We got your exclusives. You're going to get them here. Whereas Xbox's is like, we got Game Pass. We got all these games for you to play. But moving on into the Xbox world, we talked about the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X recently this week, where there was a controller package that had Xbox Series S listed. So we talked about how, yes, that's leaking, that it's a thing. Well, we've got more controller leaks today, Soapy, where this is coming from, the tweet is from Tom Warren, who I believe he is from, let me look into it really quick. I got Twitter. It's a thing. So this is Tom Warren, yeah. So he is from The Verge. And he tweeted out, Xbox Series X may launch on November 6th. A tipster tells me boxes of the new controller have a do not open date of November 6th on them. These controllers leaked earlier this week. And he showed a picture of the box, big orange tape. It says do not sell or display before November 6th. Soapy, are we getting the Xbox X on November 6th? Is that what this means? November 6th? Is that the first time you can get Gen 5 in your home?
I think it would be later the month. Like, honestly, I mean, fuck, they may try to pull some stupid power move and be like, oh, okay, cool, the Xbox Series X and S releases on Black Friday. Which one? That's going to be hell. And the reason why, I don't think you have, like, people show controllers on the day you can buy a console.
Mm-hmm.
That just kind of sounds weird to me.
So then in that case, because it says display, if you can't display the controller until the 6th, wouldn't that mean that basically it'd come out before then, in your sense? If they want to sell the controllers afterwards, or are you saying they want to sell the controllers before the console?
Well, no, what I think they're doing is, like, those people, because obviously since it says display, I think it's those people got sent a copy of the controller, like the final product of what it's going to look like, and those people review it when November 6th comes.
Oh, so you're saying it's okay. You're saying it's more for like a review type thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't think having, like, it's just the way that I'm looking at it is why would you have it that you can buy the controller before or after the console comes out? Because, like, wouldn't your console come with a controller? That'd be a little stupid if you bought one and it just didn't come with a controller.
It comes with one, but you're going to buy, like, usually when someone buys a console, you buy an extra controller if you're going to be playing multiplayer games. Or I usually just bought one because, like, usually I have one charging while I'm playing with the other one. But yeah, it says on there, for those of you who aren't looking at it, do not sell or display before November 6, 2020. So
yeah, I think it's...
like,
Oh, okay.
that just means to me, we're either getting it on November 6th because you want the controllers to sell alongside the console, or it's like we're going to announce that it comes out a little bit before and then the controllers are shortly after, because November 6th is September, October, November 6th is a Friday. So it would be a Friday release then for the Xbox X. And I think Black Friday is the 20th? I think it's the 20th because it's always usually the third Friday in November. So that'd be the 20th. Last time the Xbox One, it came out November 22nd, which was yet again around that Black Friday time. I think the 6th works though. If that's the date that we're going to get, it works because then it gives you 2 weeks of it being out there. Before it's there for Black Friday. The only question I have then, though, is why would you put it out before Black Friday? Just put it out on Black Friday, because how many people... You're going to get people that buy it right away, but how many people... I'll ask you this, Soapy. How many people do you think would be like, I can wait the 2 weeks to get it a little bit knocked off? Or will people say, no, that's going to be a circus. I'll just get it now?
I think a lot of people are going to say... like, it's going to be a circus, because that's the whole thing. Some people refuse to do Black Friday shopping, because I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Because I'm not getting into a fight with a fucking old lady over a TV.
Which is weird, because maybe it's because, so, you're in Michigan. I have family in Michigan. Different parts, obviously. But the only reason I've gone Black Friday shopping the last few years is because I go on Thanksgiving... because the Best Buy by her house opens up for Black Friday on Thanksgiving night, and there's barely anybody there. Like, and the people that are there are looking for, like, basically Xboxes, PlayStation. Maybe it's because I've been looking for computers. Maybe that's it. I've gotten my desktop that's down here, my MacBook. Maybe that's why, because I've actually... been looking for computers, and maybe gaming systems would be different, so I wouldn't want to do that for an Xbox. But any final thoughts on the Xbox before we move on?
I don't think it launches on the 6th. I think they launched a week or two after.
Okay.
I think it's just they used the 6th to show off the controller.
Mm-hmm.
So then, because like for instance, we've already seen the PlayStation controller. We haven't really seen much about the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
I know we saw, I think it was yesterday's topic, where we saw like what the controller may look like, because it was the box. They may do something like that, or they may have it like the 6th kind of starts like a countdown type thing.
It was on Monday.
Over it's a countdown to when it launches. I just don't think the 6th comes out, or I don't think the 6th is when it happens.
Yeah, it was Monday's show, because we talked about it had the Xbox Series S listed on there, because yesterday was just BioShock, Halo, and then our discussion about movie adaptations. But we are going to move on into our next topic, and the next one takes us into the streaming world of things. And we've talked about Dr. Disrespect on the show. We've talked about Ninja on the show. And now we're headlining the one guy we've kind of mentioned in passing when we've talked about both of them. And that is Shroud. Shroud has returned to Twitch exclusively. This is from Bijan Stephen of The Verge. He writes, Shroud, one of the most influential live streamers on the internet, has today announced his triumphant exclusive return to Twitch, the platform that made him famous after a detour to Mixer that possibly netted him a cool $10 million when the site went dark and his contract got paid out. It's a big deal. Shroud was one of the biggest names in Twitch pre-Mixer, and him leaving the site last October for then greener pastures appeared to signal a worrying exodus of talent from Twitch onto other competing live stream platforms like YouTube, Facebook Gaming, and Mixer. 10 months and one ongoing pandemic later, Mixer is gone, and the entire live streaming landscape is shuffled again. And then they showed the tweet. Shroud posted a little bit of a video. He said, I'm coming home. It says twitch.tv/Shroud. The video is basically a cool graphic of like a gun going into a bullet, or going into a gun, the gun being created, the little knife I'm looking at. Soapy, I'll ask you, how big is this for Twitch that they got Shroud exclusively?
Well, considering that basically in his first stream back, he pulled in 490k people.
Feels nice. Feels nice.
Yeah, that's definitely them. Obviously, Amazon could give less of a shit about Microsoft because obviously they sold the rights to Mixer.
Yeah.
And everything, and now it's a Facebook streaming platform, which is still weird to me.
Yeah. Facebook gaming, man. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait till when the 80-year-old people don't understand how Facebook gaming works.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, these damn kids are taking over Facebook. It's like, it was meant for us, home dog.
It was made for college kids originally, home dog.
Yeah, but I think it's a really good thing for Twitch. I feel like it's like like we brought up with the ninja topic, I think they're all just coming back.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, Dr. Disrespect's on YouTube, but that's because he got banned from Twitch.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a different situation. He didn't leave Twitch and then, I mean, technically he left, but he was forced out, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if I ever told you this, my rant about why I hated the move of Ninja and Shroud over to Mixer.
You have not, but go ahead.
Alright, so the reason that I hated it was Mixer was, like I've said in the past, I think I've said this at least to you before, of I was liking what Mixer was doing. Like, I liked how the community was growing.
Yeah.
They had their own streamers developing. Like, it was like a tight-knit group of where it was, you had streamers, like, basically forming stream teams with each other. Like, the 2K community was really thriving on Xbox, at least, because all the Xbox streamers basically made a platform together, which is a fantastic thing. And with that, it was, especially just with the way that Mixer works with, like, the interactive chat, where, like, it's in real time. And surprisingly, like, it doesn't take up that much extra effort on your computer or anything to do that, like it does with Twitch. And that was something that I felt wasn't ready for someone the size of Shroud or Ninja. Because, like, for instance, people really weren't leaving Twitch to go watch Shroud or Ninja. Like, people followed him, don't get me wrong, but, like, you weren't getting the swath of people going over. Like, maybe, like, 1,000 people followed.
Yeah.
And even at that, it was, like, I've been in their chats, and the whole time, it was just, you had the Twitch people just shit-talking Mixer the whole time. It's just, like...
Of course,
it's like,
get that, though.
Yeah. And it's one of those things of, I feel Mixer was not ready for the size of people like Ninja and Shroud. And I think that was the major downside of them moving over. Now, obviously, with them going back, obviously the platform fits them a lot better than it does with Mixer, because Twitch has a much larger audience. Having delayed chat is much better for streamers that big, mostly because, like, yes, you're not interacting with your chat, but even at that, it's 99% of the time Ninja and Shroud are not interacting with their chat at all.
Yeah.
It's just they may look up and see, like, a mod type something, and they may say something.
Well, and plus, like, they have, when you're that big, like, for example, I'm going to use the Twitch stream that Shroud had. When you have over 400,000 people in your stream, and let's say just half of them are talking, because you do have lurkers. I'm a lurker when I watch Twitch, where I'm just going to watch you. Like, I'm not someone that's necessarily going to get into the chat. I may sometimes, but usually I'm a lurker. Let's say half of those people are not lurkers. What, that's still 200,000 people chatting? Like, it's almost impossible to be able to read chat at that point. Like, on some streams you're looking, it's like, they move so fast, it's like, how the fuck can you read any of that? How can you respond to any of it? It's like, you just got to look over and, oh, I picked that. Boom. That's what I react to, because there's no way to read the chat unless you're like, okay, look, all right, look, okay, I'm focusing on it. And like if you're playing a game like Fortnite where you got to focus on that more, it's almost impossible to interact with your chat the way that maybe a smaller creator would.
Yeah, and that's something that I felt Mixer was never meant to compete with Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was...
So, like, you're saying it's meant for smaller streamers and more, like, niched communities?
Yeah.
Or was,
and where it's... Because especially, like I said, I never felt it was meant to be a competitor. Like, obviously, every streaming platform's competing with each other. YouTube and Twitch are competing with each other.
Just like
obviously Mixer...
Just like NBC competes with CBS and Fox.
But it's like, I felt with Mixer, they should have taken the approach of no, we're not competing.
Yeah.
What we're doing, we're here, we want to give a platform to streamers.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, it's when Mixer, even before Mixer, was sold, a lot of the original content creators are moving over to Twitch because they're Mixer changed so much in such a short time.
Yeah.
Because it's Mixer already had limited amounts of people on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use Pokimane for example. Pokimane has more people in her stream that were ever on Mixer.
Yeah.
She normally on I don't know if this is an average day or not. I don't keep up with Pokimane that much. She has 13K people in her chat.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen 13K people on Mixer.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things of you then pooled that audience towards two people, which, don't get me wrong, having big creators is technically better than having a lot of small creators. But you...
I was just going to ask, wouldn't they, Shroud and Ninja, take from the same pool of, viewer? Because they play similar games? It would be different if, no. Shroud was a 2K player and Ninja was a Fortnite player.
It's yes and no. It's Shroud doesn't play Fortnite.
Yeah.
It's just for instance, people watch Ninja play just battle royales in general because he's really good at them. Yeah. People watch Shroud play literally fucking anything because he's good at everything he does.
Good point.
Sorry, if you can't tell, I just have a little bit of bias towards Shroud. Just a little bit.
Only a little? Only a little?
Yeah, just a little bit. I was going to say something earlier, but I realized very early I probably should not say that because I do not want to have people make fun of me for saying it.
Oh, come on. Shame them into it. No, I'm kidding. If you don't want to say it, don't say it.
I mean, dude, I'll say it if you want me to say it.
Go ahead. If you're going to put it out there and then say, I'll say it if you want me to, then you got to say it. You just teasing the people now.
Yeah, it's basically, I would...
He literally cuts out right before he was going to say it. He cuts out before he was going to say it. You can't... You know what, people? You can't write this. You cannot write that Soapy's internet's nope, you're not allowed to say this. You're not allowed to say it. Because I hope he can hear me. Because I can't hear him at all. Literally right before he was going to say it, he cuts out. Let's see, did I get a message from him? No, I did not. Cool. So I'm gonna shoot the shit here with you guys, obviously. Until Soapy gets back. There you go. There you go, big guy. We got you back.
All right, so how much of my rant did you hear of me saying I'd slob on his knob?
Do you want to know the best part about it?
What?
It cut out right before you were like, I'll go ahead and say it. And then right before you went and said it, it cut out to where I was like, really? Of course that would happen. Of course Soapy's internet's like, no, Chief. Nuh-uh, you don't get... It sounds like a you problem, Ricky.
Yeah, that's basically what it did. It's like, what did he say? The world may never know. But basically, it's...
Did not hear any of it.
Yeah, I would slob on fucking Shroud's knob, without a doubt in my mind. In any way, shape, and form. I will give that man praise for anything. He could play fucking Katamari, like the game where you just sit there and like play as the ball. He
Yeah.
could play that and be like, "Holy fuck, Shroud's really good at this game."
24 hours of Fall Guy. Soapy's just sitting there slobbing on the knob.
Yeah, dude, slobbing the knob.
And JD in Twitch chat says, "What are the odds of that?" LOL. Oh, you get to see how the sausage is made. That's why I love this show and doing it for you guys.
Twitch is saving me.
Yeah, Twitch is saving you. But let's move on. We're going to go into a segment that I didn't think would be a daily segment. I thought it would just be like we're going to do it here or there. But I've just put it on the show each and every day, and Soapy hasn't told me it was stupid, or you guys haven't told me it was stupid. So we're going to keep going with it. It's time for Shorty But A Goodie. And today we've got 3 shorties, but they're all goodies. I'm going to let Soapy take the first one because you, Soapy, were the one that suggested this. But this one comes from Adam Bankhurst at IGN. Splinter Cell Sam Fisher to join Rainbow Six Siege as an operative named Specialist Zero. Go ahead, I'm going to let you take this one as my body decides to just spew noises involuntary without me wanting them. His internet cut out again, didn't it? He didn't hear a word I just said. Or it's what he prepped me for earlier, that his aunt was coming over to give him his charger, and he had to mute it for that. This has just been a great Games Live. I love this. I love it. He's unmuted. Soaps, you there? You there, Soaps? Oh, he disconnected. He's back. I see the green. I don't hear him, though. Uh-oh. Yes. So Soapy's communicating with me on Twitch chat. His internet is being wonderful. First my internet, then Soapy's internet. This will be the roughest Games Live to edit. I will tell you that. But we will.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, Chief. I can hear you now.
Man, my fucking internet is chugging.
Were you hearing anything I was saying?
Oh yeah, no, I was hearing everything.
Cause so here's the question I ask, and fuck it, I'll leave it on. All of this part, do I just leave it in? Cause this is the live experience you get.
If you want to.
On the YouTube side, you know what? The internet.
If you want to show how shit show it can actually be.
Do we want to show how I say that phrase, and yes, I'm stealing it from Greg Miller at Kind of Funny because I love it so much. This is just how the sausage is made, and you get to see it. It's funny that I give the spew. Did you hear anything about the Splinter Cell thing?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I was like, Soapy, I'm just basically going to let you take it. And then crickets. That's all I heard was crickets. And I was like, either his internet dropped out, or because I saw the mute sign, I was like, ooh, did his aunt come by? Because he said his aunt was going to come by to drop off a charger. But now we will get into it to kind of end the show with our last few. But I'm going to let you take it, Soapy, with Splinter Cell Sam Fisher coming to Rainbow Six Siege.
I'm hyped as fuck for it because I love the Splinter Cell games without a fucking doubt in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, if I remember correctly, in the trailer, they actually got the guy who voiced Sam Fisher to do it.
Fuck yeah.
So I'm hyped.
Fuck yeah.
I wonder what his ability's gonna be. But we'll get more of that type of leak as he gets ready to come out.
The next one we've got, I'll take this one, Soapy. Nintendo Switch getting a new... Actually, this will be a both of us one, because you like Zelda. Getting a new Zelda-like game. This is... So, here's the thing I thought. When it said Zelda-like game, my first thought was kind of what you heard from Soapy. We're getting a new Zelda game? Fuck yeah.
I did not say that at all.
It's not. It's not a new Zelda game. Basically, the game is called Oceanhorn 2, Knights of the Lost Realm. You can check it out on YouTube. They have a trailer. it's basically like looking at the gameplay from the trailer. If you just showed me it, I'd be like, oh, this is a Zelda knockoff. Like, it looks like it is ripped exactly from Zelda. And I'm kind of torn on this because there's a part of me that's like, cool, if you like the Zelda style game, this is going to be a game you like. It looks like it's got similar combat and stuff. Here's the side of it that is negative. I'm going to put the negative Ricky hat on now. It looks almost too similar, Soaps. It almost, to me, looks too similar to where, like, I'm going to need to see how this is different from Zelda because it almost looks like almost a straight rip of Zelda. He's got a similar tunic. It's got a similar color. The sword looks very similar. He's got a slingshot. He opens chests. I don't know. There's a part of me here that goes, are they trying to get away with making a Zelda game without getting sued, like, as closely as they can? Does it look like fun if you're a Zelda fan? Yes. But to me, I almost look at it and go, is this just going to be knockoff Zelda?
Are you asking if Nintendo, the people who own the legal rights to Zelda, are going to get sued for making a Zelda game?
I mean, I'm not saying sued, but like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to play it because I just want to play a Zelda game. Unless you're like, well, I don't have a new Zelda. Like, it just, I don't know. My brain sees it and, like, not even thinking it's made by who it's made by. It just looks like, you know how when you go to the grocery store and you're like, oh, cool, fucking, this is what I want. I want some Fruity Pebbles. But then you look at the price, like, and then you go and look and you go, oh, it's grocery store brand Fruity Pebbles. That's what this almost looks like, where it's like, it looks so closely to it to where I hope there's things that make it unique, or else I'm just going to be wishing I was playing a Zelda game.
Well, I mean, if you're able to taste the distinct differences between the 500 different versions of Fruity Pebbles,
yes,
that's impressive. More power to you.
It just, Fruity Pebbles taste differently than that knockoff stuff. Like, the nobody likes store brand anything, Soaps.
You watch it. I saw one store brand like Captain Crunch, and I don't remember what it was called, but you want to talk about fucking up the roof of your mouth.
And I don't think this is made by Nintendo. I mean, it's coming to Switch, so obviously Nintendo like okayed it. But it's published and developed by Corn Fox and Bros.
Oh, okay. I thought you were originally saying that Nintendo was making it, and I'm like, okay, hold up.
But
is Nintendo gonna sue itself? They're like, listen here, you son of a bitch, give me my money.
If I'm Nintendo, though, I'd look at this and go, hey, you trying to make our game? You trying to just make our game? I don't know. Maybe I'm just shitting on it, and I shouldn't be. But yeah, it looks very much too much like Zelda for me. That's just my thoughts on it. Too much.
That's fair.
The last one for Shorty But A Goodie, I'm gonna let you take, because you put this into our drop down. EA shareholders reject paying EA executives a bunch of money. This is from Andy Chalk at PCGamer.com. In July, the investment group made the same. Oh no, that's not it. In June, CTW Investment Group, which works with union-sponsored pension funds to enhance long-term stockholder value, called on Activision shareholders to reject a proposed compensation plan for CEO Bobby Kotick, arguing that his extremely generously pay package was grossly out of proportion with the company's performance. More than 43% of shareholders voted against the say on pay package, the highest level of opposition to CEO compensation. Soapy, your thoughts. You're the one that put this down. I'm going to let you take it away.
Fucking finally, someone's holding CEOs accountable.
You mean they all don't get to line their pockets with money?
Yeah. My fucking money that they claim, oh, we don't have enough money to be able to keep some of our staff. And then the CEO, well, he's speaking to me, he's like, I'm really sad, and he tries to fake cry, and he just pulls out a wad of $100 bills and starts wiping his eyes with them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, woe is me.
Oh, woe is me. But yeah, this is another one where it's like hat tip to the people who voted against us, because that's the one thing. And I don't mean to get political with it, but politics comes into this a little bit. Like, I feel like my generation, and even down to your generation, Soapy, the young kids, which I'm still calling myself a kid at age 30, the young kids seem to be more against status quo, just because, like, it's not like before it was like, oh, this is how it is. All right, I guess that's how it is. Where nowadays it seems like younger people are more like, well, no, that's not right. It shouldn't be like that. And are kind of stepping up for it. So, like, this is good to see. CEO's not going to line his pockets with money for underperforming. We're going to make a change, Soapy. We are going to end the show here, only because, we were going to talk Tony Hawk Remastered demo reactions. I would like to give that its fair share. So we're going to bump that to tomorrow, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Only because, like, I know I can, like, I feel like I'm going to have more to say on it. And with it being at the end, with the show that we had a lot to say about everything else. I think we're going to kind of leave the show there. So thank you guys for watching. End of the show. Patreon.com/MVP vids is where you support us. We're going to have our patron interaction. You get special Discord accesses, content early, producership for the live shows. We cannot do what we do without the support of our patrons. These will be on podcast services sooner rather than later. Thank you for your patience on that. And remember, if you ever miss a live show or we disconnect and you don't come back, you can catch the full thing on YouTube, MVP Entertainment. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can catch the show live between 5:30 and 6 Central Time each and every day. It's usually between then, because that's where MVP Sports Live is usually ending. So twitch.tv/MVP vids. Soapy, I want to thank you for another great show. We will be back tomorrow, Thursday, talking Call of Duty and Tony Hawk for sure, with a lot more topics on tomorrow's show. But that is going to do it for Games Live here on MVP. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Bye.